That's even quicker. He did.
What a lovely spot.
The Wildwood's power is mine! You seem nothing else. This is your end. The fourth edict only burns for your world. Sacred fire of the mother soul. You are cold. Your affliction upon her will soon race.
Ready to hunt. There it is. Let's move. What could have come to this?
All part of my plan.
Hail.
Give my power to you.
Yo, what's up people, it's your boy P, also known as Captain P67. We're here today for my Bloodmage Living Lightning build. As you can see from the footage, from what I've included, the build is just insane. Wipes out all the pinnacle bosses in seconds. I can hard carry any pinnacle bosses with it as well, and I included the mapping as well because you wanted to see both sides. So as you can see from the footage, from the mapping as well, it's just super fast, super insane. We insta-kill any elites literally within 1 second, and if there is a boss at the end of the map or a pinnacle boss that we have to deal with of that level, since the Atlas tree is all maxed out as well, we kind of just dominate everything. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into the build right now, and we'll cover everything. So I'll go top to bottom of the build, then we'll go over the rotation, and then I'll cover everything as well for you. What's up, Jesus Freak? Yeah, I'm just shooting a YouTube video, so we'll do this and I'll be on later as well. So in regards to the inventory, there's a couple of ways of going about this if you are a newer player to the build, and if you say you want a budget version of the build as well. Me personally, I did start off with a Wrath Pith. This did actually cost me 12 divines originally. This was a few weeks ago. I know the prices have come down quite a lot, but if you do feel that some of the items are overwhelming if you're a newer player, don't be disheartened, because I had to do the same thing. I literally started off with one item, then I started building myself up and farming and farming. But if you want to go for the higher end, this can cost, let's just say this particular build is under 100 divines anyway. And like I said, I built it up gradually as I went through. But in regards to items, wands, we could start off with the wand first and foremost. +5 is amazing to get on there. However, crit chance is really important to get on the build to start off with. So if you can get +5, that would be great. Lightning. But crit chance is the most important, I'd say, for the build. And I'll explain how the build works and why you want as much crit as you can. But any sort of wand with +5 levels would be great. Any elemental damage would be great. Spell damage would be great. Cast speed would be great as well. But like I said, the crit is the most important thing because it allows you to do more with the build and change a few things as well if you wish. In regards to the helmet, you want to get as much energy shield as you can and maximum life. The build does scale off life, so the more life you get, the more damage you do, and it's obviously better for survivability as well. And then also energy shield, which I'll go over the overall stats when we come to the conclusion of the build, and that will cover everything else for you as well. In regards to the amulet, attributes is great because it can give you strength, which can give you plus life. But anything, the most important things again will be spell skills, 3 if possible. Cast speed, you can get +4 to spell skills, but 3 is more than viable. Spirit would be great to get on there because we do use spirit as well. So try and get as close to this as you can. But again, when you are like leveling the build up, you don't have to get everything straight away. And just think of it as a journey of getting a better build overall. But attributes is great, or anything in there between. Spirit, try and get that on your amulet. +3 to level spell skills would be great. Cast speed is great. Life regen is an additional bonus, and it's pretty good to have it with a build like this. Global defense is another bonus to have with the build like this in general, because it increases the energy shield as well. And then invocated spells are just there, so whatever you get could be beneficial for your build. But just build what makes your build better in general, and that will work better for you. So even if you want to use it as a template, then build it how you want to build. That's the most part, and make sure you have fun as well. In regards to the chest piece, we do convert the energy shield into more life. So the higher base energy shield you can get, and the more energy shield you can get, to be more beneficial for you. So as you can see, we got 871, and then we got a lot of maximum energy shield. And you can also use this to end up capping your resistances. This particular build, I have capped all the resistances, including some chaos resistance as well. And that's definitely worth doing if you are pushing high endgame content as well. In regards to rings, couple of things you might want to have. So I've added physical damage, which I'll explain as well. But again, life, cast speed, any additional bonuses are great. And also you can see 23% increased spell damage while on full energy shield. So that's another bonus, but again, use what you've got and make it beneficial for you. The other ring, same, cast speed on the implicit, and then we've added cast speed, so it's 40% increased cast speed, a lot. Then we've added fire and cold, so we've got elemental. And another good thing about this build is we've got all types of damage, so there isn't any enemy in the game that can resist our damage. We got physical, we got cold, we got lightning, we got fire, and we penetrate damage as well. So we got every sort of damage type covered, so nothing is safe from us basically. And also we got Wrath Pith, which is what I mentioned at the start. Again with this, even if you use a base one and then work your way up, as long as you have this, you're good. And there's a couple of reasons you're going to use this. We get good life, well, we get good energy shield, then we get good life, and then obviously non-challenging spell skills cost an additional 6% of your maximum life, so that will take our life off. However, we also get 5% increased critical hit chance per 100 maximum life, and we also deal 10% increased damage per 100 maximum life. So the more you scale your life up and hit those increments of hundreds, you'll get more damage from the build as well. And this is why it is essential to get this to make the build work, and then obviously a good wand as well, but you will need this to make it work, just for those specific stats in general. Now in regards to the gloves, these gloves, just as much as the Wrathpith is, you want to get these gloves for a couple of reasons. Get nice bit of armor on there. We also get critical chance, and the crit chance is very important. You also get intelligence, and also you leech damage from the critical hits in an instant. So whereas you're sacrificing a lot of your life, you want to be leeching life back. Hence why in the footage you can see I might be sacrificing life to do damage, but I've got instantly life back. And on top of that, the higher you life leech and keep your life leech, the more damage you're going to be doing, because your hits are going to be based off the HP you have at the time. So if you're at a lower threshold and you're constantly on lower HP, when you're hitting, you can do less damage. So I've added regen, I've added more like higher leech, and obviously more survivability. In regards to the belt, we've got a belt with armor and life, and anything that helps with like life regen and resistances. So just use a rule of thumb. Your helmet could be resistances, your rings, your chest piece, and your belt. I have got a headhunter on my other account. I've had 2. I saw one the other day, so you could use a headhunter as well, but I wanted to make this as godly as I could without going too crazy on the currency, and also showing you could use some regular items also. So you could use a headhunter if you want to, and I've used it myself, but what I'd recommend more is just making sure you get a belt to make sure you cover your resistances. If you don't have your resistances capped, that's a L. Make sure you get your resistances capped as best as you can. So having a belt will definitely help you out. So that'll be a big thing for you. And obviously any life regen can help out as well to keep you topped up and doing more damage. Now in regards to boots, pretty much same thing. Movement speed can be beneficial, but you don't have to have movement speed because I'm using blink. But you can also turn blink on and off, and I'll explain that in rotation as well. And then with the boots, more energy shield would be great, strength for more HP, and I've also added life as well. So if you want to get anything with double sockets, you can add more, and also you can cap your resistances. So if you get a Wrathpith with 1, great, but if you get it with 2 or 3, you can add more jewels in there, and then get your resistances capped as well. Now, one of the really cool things I found with the build, I did a lot of trial and testing with the build live on stream, and just try to figure out every aspect I could to make sure the build was godly, and we weren't sort of suffering from any negative parts of the build. So, for example, with this build, it is sort of like a life regen build, and at the very start of any sort of fight, you can lose a lot of HP. So if you can see in the bottom left corner, my HP seems quite low there. However, with that flask, not only does it instantly recover, we also gain the benefits, what it says in there. Instant recovery, number 1, which is godly. We also get increased charges per use, and we get excess life recovery added as guard for 10 seconds. So when you're starting off with the build, I'll go over the full rotation, you will be losing HP. So if you're running like a high deli or a high map at the very beginning, you might be more susceptible to damage. And even my testing originally, like when I was first coming up with the build, I did feel that my character did die at the start of a map. Once you get mapping, you're pretty much almost invincible. And even bossing, but at that very first few seconds when you're using that HP, if you're getting attacked and you lose your energy shield, you can die. So basically with that instant recovery, I kind of negated that, and this is why I 100% would recommend, if you can get this, you'll be pretty much just super godly. And also if you are in an instance where you get knocked over or fall over, hence the reason I mentioned blink, if you want to use it or not, you are more susceptible to fall over, get knocked if you use blink, because there is a little issue where you can kind of fall over after using blink or holding the button down for a second extra or slightly over. So this will give you instant recovery and keep you topped up. So I definitely recommend this if you can get it. You don't need it per se, but I definitely recommend you can get it more later endgame. Now in regards to this flask, just ignore this. This is there because I was using it, testing it out before I converted my mana to life. So you don't need this at all. You don't even need a flask there, but you could use it. And I like to go over items, might give you more ideas for other builds anyway, so you can have a look at this or screenshot it and go with this accordingly. Now in regards to charms, the main things you might die or get hit from mainly, and I think a lot of people use the same rotation, is a stun charm. So you don't really get stunned. Once you get stunned, you kind of become immune, or literally it says you cannot be stunned. So with this you won't be stunned, and just put in a situation where you can get hit with big damage and die. And then on top of that, I've also used this one, which is a Norcent Hope Thwarting Charm. So another one, a lot of the times bosses, even Giorna, the first act boss, can freeze you, and certain bosses can freeze you, then you can die. So if you have something like this on, you are immune to freeze. So it also procs when you become frozen. And if you also notice the little subtext, energy shield recharges on you. So not only do you become immune from it, but if you get hit and your energy shield is low, that will go up. That means a defensive layer for you, and that will keep you survived. Currently I'm on 4,833 shield, and my life is 3,631. So it's well over 8k plus in survivability, plus damage reduction modifiers. And again, I can make this build a lot stronger and a lot higher, but I've got enough currency to do that. But I didn't want to make it so it was so costly that I'd be out of reach for any sort of player to get to. So yeah, I'm currently sitting on 78 divines. I've got a lot of guild stash and a lot of stash I can sell, so we can easily make a lot of sales, even up to like mirrors. I got so much stash, but this is a build where you can work towards rather than just having something unlike fathomable to get in general. And again, I built it from scratch all over on the stream these last couple of weeks, doing it myself. So then last but not least, we've also got another charm, which is the Salt Golden Charm. So this isn't an essential, so you could replace this with whatever you want. But with this build, I did sacrifice rarity overall to get more optimal damage, and then worry about rarity after. Since I'm blasting so much, I don't really care for rarity, but if you want additional rarity in the build, you can have this. And basically, when you kill a rare or unique enemy, it kind of kicks in, but you also get the 15% increased rarity item found. And I've also tried a bear charm as well, which is about 90 divines, and that's pretty crazy as well. So you can actually add or change any of these, and again, build how you want to build, what makes purpose for you. But that is the inventory covered, so those are all the items I've got. And we also are using a 2 set build as well. So in your secondary slots, you do want to get a Grim Weaver chiming staff for a couple of reasons. So the way we have this in, I'm going to go over the skills anyway, but basically for Sigil of Power, which gives you a buff when you stand in the area, which is a massive spell buff, you want to be having a secondary weapon. And when I go over the rotation, you kind of understand what I mean. But these stats don't really matter what you get on there, but you will need it so you can get the Sigil of Power. So you can get like an 18 Sigil of Power or around that, that'll be great. Anything under, still fine as you're building up, but definitely get as high a Sigil of Power as you can for that base. And then you can add more jewels in there as well to change a few things, which I'll go over as well. But that is all the inventory covered for you. So we'll quickly go over skills, because there is a lot to cover. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to remove the camera and the stats, so I want it to be as crystal clear so nothing's blocking the screen. So I'm going to remove all the camera and everything else for you, so we'll make sure this is just fully visible. So if I can drag this up here somewhere. How? So now the screen should be fully clear for you, and I'm not going to rush over everything so quick so you can't see or understand what I'm doing, and I'll also do the same thing for the passive tree as well. So what I'll do is I'll go top to bottom and explain as much as I can. And another disclaimer, I am live on Twitch every single day, 6 to 8 hours a day on this game, so if you do need any help or you don't understand anything, I can recover everything for you. Now, one of the cool things about having the Blood Mage is the life remnants, which when I go over the passives, I can go over the nodes and explain it. But you have life remnants, which is like another survivability node. And if you're not sure what it actually does, it does tell you a base description of every single skill if you are new to the game. And it also explains each socket that's been put in and what it does as well. So basically, remnants last for 8 seconds. They have a chance to spawn when you kill an enemy. And when you get that remnant, you get life back in a short term. And then in regards to the support gems we've added, so this one, harmonic remnants, 20% chance for sport skills to create an additional remnant. So they already create one when we get, well, they have a chance to create one when we kill, and then this can make additional, so you got more survivability. And on top of that, remnants can be collected from further away, so you don't always have to be right next to them. You can be around the area and absorb them. Keep your life pH stuff really good. Keep you super tanky, and obviously where as I mentioned, you want your HP as high as you can when you're attacking. That's beneficial to have as well. We've also got this one, so the effects that remnants generated, they occur 3 seconds after. However, they give you an increased effect. So if you didn't collect them, you're constantly keeping your HP up, and because it's got an increased effect, you're constantly having that HP like at max, rather than if you didn't have this on, you might be collecting them and not getting so much HP back. So it's definitely beneficial to have that, and it'll help you for survivability as well. Now, another cool thing, I don't think I've seen any single person do this or talk about this. There's many different ones with different substats on there. Some people use Spell Slinger for different lightning builds and different ones. However, when I saw Galvanic Field, I thought, oh, cool, let me see if I can make something cool and unique. And this is what I've come up with going for this, and it's just really, really awesome. So, for example, this one, it doesn't say for aura, so it's already proccing guaranteed, and you can double check your aura, what's working and what's proccing. So I have life remnants, cast on critical and blink. Now this says it's buff AoE, it's sustained, which means it's a constant buff and it's sustained 24/7. gain a buff that boosts your shock chance. We are doing a lot of lightning damage, and I've got living lightning, which also chases down enemies and shocks them as well as bosses. So not only do I insta kind of freeze bosses, all the tech I've got, I instantly shock them and keep them in a shock state as well. And the living lightning constantly keeps that up. But gain a buff that boosts your shock chance. Shocking an enemy consumes the buff to attach an orb of electricity to that enemy. The orb then fires bolts of electric at nearby enemies till it explodes. So we kind of make an aura around that one enemy. Then it also shoots enemies around with the orbs of electric, and it also does more damage, and it gets you more chance to shock. So not only does it proc on a boss and every single boss, and if you watch the footage back, you might see an aura of electric. That's what this procs off. It also clears and helps you kill mobs in maps on top of that when it attaches to an enemy, if they last more than a second, which they normally don't anyway, but sometimes you see it. So this is pretty godly. Now I like to use different skills and original skills, so this is what we've come up with, and you see a lot of lightning bolts happening with this. Now the sigillar power, which I mentioned already as well, actually my mistake, I didn't go over the sockets. So yeah, supported skills inflict exposure, so this will proc and then give exposure for more lightning damage. We've also added cast speed as well, so you'll see more procs and more bolts going off when we do proc it. We've also triggered this, which is what I was talking about, the living lightning. So support skills which cause damage in hits. Living lightning minions are created when dealing lightning damage. Bundles of electricity will target the enemy and do chaining attacks. Enemies will not directly engage these minions and can pass through them. It says it does not modify skills used by minions. We're not using any sort of minions tech, but basically with this we have like 8 on each generated one of living lightning bolts that just come out on the screen, and they chase and track down enemies and just kill them. So not only do I proc this off the galvanic field, I also proc it off my lightning warp, which I'll go with you. So basically we have 16 bolts of lightning on the screen chasing down enemies. So if we don't insta kill anything, and because we're constantly warping around the map and killing stuff, anything that does survive, any stragglers get chased down by these lightning bolts. And this is why it's a living lightning build. It's pretty just insane with the tech, and just kills everything. Plus it also procs extra hits on bosses, hence why they get so melted and why we kill pinnacle bosses so quick too. So it's just amazing to have on there. And then we've also added pinpoint critical, which is why I said I was most important about the build. If you're not critting with cast on crit, when you're leveling early in the game, you might not have a chance to get stuff like this. So where I mentioned you might get a wand, it might not have crit chance on there, any sort of crit. If you're trying to cap your crit, it also works for spells as well. Pinpoint critical is amazing. Not only does it give you 60% more crit, you can lose some critical damage bonus, but when you're early leveling, if you can't crit, you're not going to have that much crit anyway, so it doesn't really matter. As long as you're critting, you're casting on crit, that's great. You will lose a bit of crit on there, the 30%, but like I said, when you're leveling, it's just godly to have. And since I'm not worried too much about anything about crit damage or the build itself or the damage we do so much flat damage and constant damage and lightning and penetration, elemental damage, we don't have to worry about that. But we still also do crit damage anyway, and I've got spell crit damage as well. But yeah, with the pinpoint critical, if you're not critting, definitely use this, it's great. And I'll explain why we use it for the other things as well. So with sigil power, I've mentioned that already, what it does with the buffs. We've got more duration here. We've got cooldown recovery, so we can proc it more often, and it also buffs teammates as well, which is amazing. And we also have the increased area effect. So the aura that comes on the ground, it's in a wider area. You stay in there, you get your buffs, and you do the damage. Punch is just there, one punch man. Got it, we're not using it, and it's also blanked out, so ignore that. Frost bomb, another thing for rotation, I'll go with you. It's pretty dope. You can use this just for a bit of AoE if you wish. I've also added another AoE skill. You don't have to have this as much, but Frost Bomb is more beneficial for the sort of like insta damage and boss killing as well. So Frost Bomb is a orb of frost which pulsates, does damage, detonates over time, and it applies elemental exposure, which we're doing elemental damage, so it's more damage in general. Again, you can read the description if you're not sure what it does, but it's basically a frost bomb, so it's just to show you, I guess. That's the frost bomb, if you are more new to the game. What we've got in regards to sports gems for it is we have +1 limit, and it says 50% less skill effect duration. However, we can proc it more often. It's really quick on the cooldown, so we only need 1 to proc and then kick in with the boss. But it also said it echoes once with the spell echo, and it has less cast speed. But Echoes from sported skills have 40% increased area of effect, which is great. And then also here again is the cooldown rate, 30%, which is cooldown recovery. And then we got potent exposure. So exposure applied by sported skills has 20% increased effect. So that is that. And then I'll explain how the rotation works in one, so they're not too confusing. Now another cool thing is as well, we have got Ball of Lightning, which is our main just basic skill. And you kind of get around the map with it as well, because we can teleport to each like fireball we do, or electric lightning ball. And then it procs everything else as well on top. And we got really quick cast speed, so we're most on average doing 3 to 5 sort of explosions, which can just, you know, kill things out. And you'll see all these shards generated as well, which is awesome. So we'll go over this now as well in regards to skills. So Ball Lightning, it shoots a slow moving projectile that passes through enemies. It does not hit enemies itself, but it discharges bolts of lightning at nearby enemies. Consumes a fire infusion if possible to slow down over time. Creates ignited ground as it travels. And exploding deals fire damage aura after it dissipates. So it says deals lightning damage, hits enemy, and it has chance to shock. What we've added is multi-shot, so we get more projectiles. We've added efficiency, so it costs less to perform those. We've got pinpoint critical again, which is very important. We're always critting. So if you're not sure if you are critting or not, just go to your advanced info. And you could probably see it there. Critical hit chance 100% and critical damage bonus. So whereas I mentioned pinpoint critical, we may have sacrificed a little bit of crit damage, however we got that 100% crit. So we're always critting. And whereas I mentioned the leeching, remember stuff like this? So leech from critical hits is instant. So if we're using 2 skills, our 2 main skills are Ball Lightning and Lightning Warp. We're always critting no matter what, 100%, so we're always getting life back. And that will keep your sustain, your damage, and everything constantly for the damage as well. And then for Unleash, sported spells gain a seal of cast time, 2 seals. Sported spells are when cast, their effects reoccur for each seal lost. And sported skills deal 50% less damage when reoccurring. But obviously, as you can see with the extra procs we got, it's definitely beneficial. Just good to have in there as well. And then we also got projectile acceleration, so increases the projectile speed. And as you can see, our actual cast is quite fast in general. Our cast is very high, but our lightning balls are coming out really, really quick as well. So you can get across the map even quicker. You can do more damage quicker as well. And it's just the perfect sort of speed that you might want to use. I've tried and tested with taking it off. It is way too slow without it. So it's like if you was to shoot, it'd be so close you'd be hardly covering any of the map. But I think with this, it's just perfect for the speed and the coverage, so it kind of covers that for you as well. Okay, so we want to get onto cast on critical now. In the footage, you can see we're constantly proccing arc, we're constantly proccing Ball Lightning, our other skill as well. And this is self-explanatory here. Basically, when we crit, we will cast this once we build it up, and hence the reason why I said you want to get as much crit as you can. So we're critting off Ball Lightning, we're critting off Lightning Warp, and obviously cast on critical. Once we proc it, we bring out arc to enemies, we do damage with that, and you can see what it does there. We also do efficiency, so cost less. We've also got the blind effect in there as well, which I'll go through this skill tree. Another thing we can have, when we blind enemies, we get a higher chance of doing crit damage or crit chance. And with the pinpoint critical and the base, you can hit 100% every single time. And once you're doing that, you're critting more, doing more damage, and you're proccing what you need to proc as well. Now in Sion's Temper, you can see the wild shards. So when you get the wild shard, you can fire projectiles which go in the circle. So as you can see in the footage, we're constantly proccing those over and over. And you're going to be proccing those a lot since you're critting all the time anyway. And then finally, Ball Lightning in here as well. Another thing you can also do is as well, with the Ball Lightning gem itself, you can see I got level 28. So you want to get as high levels as you can. And some of the other ones you can corrupt as well if you need to as well. So I think with Lightning Warp, I may have done that. So yeah, I didn't go for Ball Lightning, but if I wanted to, I could do Ball Lightning and corrupt to get a higher level. Or just replace it. But with Lightning Warp, you could do that for a higher amount of damage as well. And you could do it for any skills that you feel you want to get higher anyway. Now, Elemental Weakness is another curse sort of thing in the rotation. So what it's going to be looking like is that. So, pow. So this will synergize with the Frost Bomb, and then again I'll go over the whole rotation with you. But basically, elemental weakness, it curses all targets in the area, lowering their elemental resistance. Since we're doing elemental damage and we're proccing every single element, there's so much more damage with that on, so it's just godly. And then we've had magnified area for more AoE area. We've added more ritualistic curse, so more area effect again. And they also erupt after delay as well, which is pretty cool. And then we've added curse ground on top. And then we've added efficiency, so you can do that. Now finally, our most damaging skill, our most used skill after Lightning Ball is the Lightning Warp, which I've mentioned. So we've obviously corrupted this one to get a higher level. So the higher levels you get, the more damage you're going to do. Tooltip says 157, but the amount of damage you do is just bonkers, and all this stuff we apply on top is insane. And what we've gone for is Atalu's Bloodletting. So this basically converts any mana cost to life cost. We are Blood Mage, so we're doing that anyway. So the more HP we're losing, we're doing more damage, more physical damage. And it just scales the damage overall, so it's pretty insane. So you definitely want that in there. Then we've also got Living Lightning, which I've mentioned to you again. So one of the cool things is with the Galvanic Field it procs, but with this it guarantees procs. Every single time we're critting, we're hitting with Lightning Warp, these lightning bolts come out, just chase things down on the map, do extra damage and tick some bosses, and just cause so much havoc and damage. It's just insane. So Living Lightning is absolutely godly. Now the reason why I've mentioned that and kept this here as well is, and like prioritize this for you, when you are leveling, again, if you can't crit, just remove Living Lightning out there. Just put Pinpoint Critical. You can just change it. So until you are hitting 100% crits, put Pinpoint Critical in there. When you feel like you're 100% on, you got everything where you want it, then you can just change these accordingly. But Living Lightning, I think it's phenomenal. We could put other things in there as well. There is a support gem which affects your cast speed, but it doesn't really affect you. You get more flat damage. We could use that as well. We could use a lot of different things. So it's pretty good. What's up, Hate Fist? Morning, dude. I'm just shooting a YouTube video right now. And then next one is Embitter. So whereas I mentioned the physical damage in the ring, any sorts of physical damage we're doing, which from the ring itself, and any other fizz damage, you might have other fizz damage on your build or anything. When you use Embitter, it actually converts the damage. So this is really cool. So if supported skills would gain extra damage of any other type other than cold, because we're doing multiple types of damage and physical, they gain extra cold damage. And we do insta freeze and insta lock freeze bosses and uber bosses and pinnacle bosses as well, which is really cool. So just tier 3, we've frozen many times and then just propped them. But Embitter is a great way of converting any other damage from physical as well. Now, whereas I mentioned blind before, what's pretty cool about this is we got blindside on the Lightning Warp itself. So this doesn't inflict the blind, but the cast on crit does. However, you get critical damage bonus. So as I told you, we're using Pinpoint Critical, might be sacrificing a little bit. We do get more back with this. And also it says 15% more chance to critically hit blinded enemies as well. So it's like double dipping and what we might need, and more beneficial for us as well. We also have efficiency too, which is great. So that will be less cost when you are proccing that constantly, and keep you on the higher end of HP. Now, whereas I mentioned Blink, some people like Blink, some people don't. However, you could remove this if you want to, and it doesn't really matter if you have it on per se. If I'm fighting Uber Orbiter, I sometimes turn it off, because if you miss Blink or miss tap where you're going in that direction, you can't recover quick enough to roll back to get into safety. But every other like content in the game, I keep it on because I just love it. It's quick at mapping, it helps you out. And what you can also do is, like, what I do is Simulacrum. I've also done Simulacrum 3 or Simulacrum 3 with this easy. I've carried multiple people on it as well. What you could do is, in regards to that, is shoot your fireballs and then blink towards them if you don't want to cast it. But what you can also do is you can shoot your fireballs forward and then blink backwards for safety. Reposition, so it has many uses, what you might need, very good, and you can kind of mix it up with the gameplay. So you could shoot the fireballs that way, you could then transport or teleport over to the Lightning Warp, and then you could blink over here to get to safety again. So blink definitely can help you out a hell of a lot, but it's all based down to preference, what you want. But I've kept it in there just to give you some sort of like understanding that you can use it, and if you don't want to use it, you don't have to change anything, you can just turn it off. It's that simple. So if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, you could use this. And if you have fast movement speed on your boots, you could just sprint around as well. But the option's there for you. So I think it's definitely an insane build for everybody. And again, build how you want to build and what makes you happy as well. So let's put that back on for now, because I personally really like it. Again, I mentioned other skills. I've added other skills because when I was first leveling the build up, one thing I did find, if you have got a slower cast speed, you don't really have a get off me sort of card to get any enemies off you if they're super close to you, and when you're running delirium at the very start. So by the time you're shooting this, you could get hit for big damage, and you might be feel a bit flustered, or might feel like you're going to die. So what I've added is some really cool skills on top, and we've got skill 3. So because my cast speed is so fast, I've also added this, so you could use this. This also insta freezes enemies around you and gives you a lot of space. So if you feel like you're getting over clustered or over flustered with mobs or people rushing you down, and you don't feel that your lightning balls are quick enough, you could use something like this. And also you could use Orb of Storms with this to just keep you up safely. And then once you feel like you're super safe, you could just blink away from the area and come back to it once you've got your life regeneration on point. Because like I said, the life regen doesn't kick in. I'll go over the skills and why it does that, but yeah, it won't kick in straight away. So you can add any of the skills you want, whatever you think you like, or what you might want to add. And if you do remove blink, you do have 60 reserve spirit, so you can add many other things in there that you might like or might want to add as well. Endurance charges, power and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So the build is godly because you can add more stuff or take more stuff and change it accordingly for yourself as well. Okay, so that kind of covers everything. So we've gone over the inventory, I've gone over the skills. There's a lot of info to take in. I'm trying to be in as quick as I can, but I'm trying to make it so newer players might be understanding of what's going on, and also it's just easier for everyone to understand what's going on from all points of view. So in regards to the ascendancy, we are going Bloodmage, and this is pretty much the perfect setup. So I wouldn't recommend changing this in any way, shape or form, but there are specific reasons we got this and why we've got it. So more life is just common sense, which I've already explained why we want more life. This one, Grasping Runes, is godly because 25% of life loss hits is prevented, but what happens is that gets taken over 4 seconds instead. So if we're getting hit with a massive attack, instead of us taking that big attack straight away, 20% of it gets sort of prevented, 25%, and then that damage gets taken over a few seconds. And because we've got so much life regen, that gets dissipated because that damage, we took that big damage, gets spread out over the seconds, but we've already got enough life regen to recover that. Hence why we're so tanky and we can take so much damage, and we're pretty much immortal with the build. This also gives more life again, that's no brainer. And then this one is really important. So Crimson Power, gain additional maximum life equal to 100% of item energy shield on equipped body armor. So whereas I mentioned the energy shield is quite high, you can get up to 1,000 plus on this. I've currently got 871, but again, I've showed you my currency, so if I do want to buy more and increase it, I can. But I'm more than happy with what I've got so far, and I'm happy to just rock with this for now. And I'm working on other builds too, so I'm good. But the higher energy shield you get off your base and energy shield stats, the more life you're going to get in return. So this double dips on there, which is just great. So get as much as you can in there, get your life as high as you can, and that will increase your damage and everything so forth as well. Now, in regards to life leech, I've mentioned we've already got life leech in the build of the crits. This you get more life leech back, and then this gives you spell damage leech to life as well. So we do a lot of spell damage, we get more life. So the more you scale that, the more we get, which is awesome. And then of course, increased critical hit chance for spells. So that's increased, not flat. But then this one is base critical hit chance for 15% as well. So these will get you that full spell crit cap, and that will help you get everything in general. And then as regards to the nodes on the tree, again, I've made this ideally for my setup, but tweak anything you might want to tweak and make it beneficial for you. But I feel this is insanely godly. So more energy shield along these nodes, and I won't go too fast so you can't see what I'm putting in, but just quick enough so it's not too much overbearing as well. More energy shield, more intelligence, increased cast speed, practice signs, increased cast speed. Cast speed is very important. The faster cast speed you can get, the better. And if you do start using the build and you don't feel it's hitting, get that cast speed as high as you can. And I've got some extra nodes which can probably help you as well. So crit chance here again as well, crit spell damage for that extra damage, crit chance here as well, and spell damage if you dealt crit hit recently, and we always crit, so that's beautiful. And then we'll go over the left side and I'll move to the right side after. So spell damage again, strength here for that more HP, intelligence, spell crit damage, and jewels is very important as well. When I was first starting the build, you're not going to come across the best jewels, and even these aren't. These are like medium jewels, I'd say. They're kind of easy to get with a bit of farming and blasting. If you're not hitting that crit chance cap, you can get a lot of crit chance jewels to make sure you get higher crits. You can get 15, I believe you can get up to 20, which might be the max like roll for that. But you can get these quite often and common, and you can trade for these or speak to your friends in guild and maybe get some of these. So crit chance is great, elemental damage is great. We've got cursed durations that applies the debuffs for longer, and we're also using triggered spells that's increased flat damage. So any of those can help you out, make your build a lot more better in general. So those are very, very useful, no matter what type you get, and you can build those up and buy more in the future. So if you notice, I got a lot of strength, but I got intelligence, so I got a mix of both. And down here, illuminated crown, increase energy shield from equipped helmet. So the higher you get on the helmet, you get more there. You get more energy shield here as well, and 40%. If you do want to get more energy shield, you can go for these nodes, which is more beneficial as well, which is godly. And again, tweak it if you need to make it more tanky yourself. Now over here is pretty godly. We've also got spell damage increased here. We've got more mana converted to life cost. However, this is insane. We get spell mana cost requirement. However, we get 25% life regen, which is absolutely bonkers having this. And there's also this one here as well. We get increased spell damage with spells that cost life, 40 here and then 12 here. So that's 52 increase just from these nodes. So they might be costing you slightly more life, but hence why we got so much life regen. It kind of negates that, and we get more beneficial damage. Then we've gone up here for more intelligence. Gone up here, life regen. Arcane Surge normally increases your mana recovery. However, with these nodes, it grants more life regeneration and mana regeneration. And then with this, we proc Mana Surge. So if you want to skip this node, which is the critical hit, we've gone down here instead. And then I've procced it off here. So instead of wasting 2 points to get to this, because we're critting all the time, we've got a high chance of proccing this, number one. And because we do so many hits, we got a high chance of critting and a high amount of hits. We pretty much proc it with 5%. So I saved a point by going down there instead. But then we get all the benefits of increased effect, which gives us cast speed and stuff like that. And that's what Arcane Surge does. It's pretty insane. As well as the life regen too. And then what we've gone for in here is from Nothing Diamond for a specific reason. If you can get one of these, this will be beneficial later for the life regen. So with that, this allows you to get nodes from other areas in the map. So we move all the way down here. So this is Bulwark here. However, in the circle, we can get any points here. And this is pretty insane. So Hail Heart gives you 50% increased life recovery rate, life regeneration, life regeneration, life regeneration. So as you can see, with those 5 points, it does everything we need in regards to regeneration and life recovery. It's just so good. You can't really afford to miss out if you can get it. If you can get it, phenomenal. If you can't get it, work your way towards it. Definitely try and get it, just to keep that sustainability as well as the damage. And that's what's great about the build. The more survivability you get, the more damage you do, and the synergy is just phenomenal. And then cast speed over here, as it's very important. You can just go for 3 here. You could go for more of these if you want, but it's going to reduce your spell damage. So if you're not hitting for that much damage, you don't want to be reducing it by 15 if you can. And then obviously cast speed here as well if you need any extra cast speed. However, I did explain there's more tech I've got for you anyway. So what's really cool about going down this route here, there is cast speed here as well. So since we're using elemental skills, you can get 9% from here also, which is pretty insane. Just for 3 points, which is awesome. And then what I've gone for extra tech is, because we're doing a lot of elemental damage, I'm doing fire, I'm doing cold, and I'm doing lightning. We get penetration. And because of this, the reason why we do so much damage, we get 8 pen, and it all scales and stacks. And then this one is insane. Breaking point. So increased duration of elemental ailments on enemies. So not only are we applying all those 3 types of damage of elements, the duration not only lasts longer, it makes it stack higher. So we can do more, and then hence why we got higher chance of insta freezing, fire, and the shock damage as well. And then obviously on top of all of that, we do increased magnitude of non-damaged ailments you inflict, which I believe is the elemental. So it increases the magnitude of that, hence why we can do all that. So the synergy is just phenomenal, and the damage just scales so much more. And then down here, more intelligence, and then up here is the Zealot's Oath, which is excessive life recovery from regeneration is applied to energy shield. Energy shield does not recharge, what it says, but we get that from the life regen as well, which is pretty awesome. Oh, and I did go down here to get another gem as well, so more energy shield, crit chance, and area effect. Ignore that part about the minions where I mentioned we're not using minions. Living Lightning is its own minion, but we're not using anything to proc or buff that. So again, this is not min-maxed in any way, shape or form. This is just what I've got, blasting and just having fun and just putting in what I wanted to at the time. Now, Megalomaniac, I've added some extra tech on top for you, which is pretty insane. So there's an order found, which is really, really cool, since we want as much HP and defense. So with the Megalomaniac, what I found, it should be here somewhere. Here. Eldritch Will. We get more life. Mana, not a thing for us, so we're not interested in that. But we also get energy shield. But more life and energy shield is our two main things. So this is just godly. And then we get additional ailment threshold. And we also get stun threshold per shield. And we have so much energy shield. So this is absolutely godly and insane. And then on top of all of that, there is another one. And I'll see if I can find it. Should be here somewhere. Where are you? Oh, here. I think this is it. Yeah. So repulsion. This is absolutely godly for a couple of reasons. Area skills have 20% chance to knock back enemies on hit. Not only does this apply to your lightning ball, so when we throw the balls out, it also sends them back, and it works in everything. So that is better crowd control, more manipulation of the map, allowing you to do what you want to do. And then on top of that, we get 20% increased spell area damage. Since we're doing teleport so much, or lightning warp, the area damage is increased, flat damage, so it scales so much, and then again it increases the lightning ball damage as well. So this is absolutely phenomenal. Wouldn't say it's essential, but it's definitely phenomenal. So if you can get that, great. But even if you get the other one, the Eldritch Will, that I said, that will definitely be beneficial for you as well. So we'll get over to there. And then finally, more dex to cover your stats if you need it. And then blood magic. You have no mana, and skill mana cost converted to life cost. So that's covered for you as well. Now, in regards to going right of the tree, I've covered more stats for strength. However, what's pretty cool is, if you're not aware, and it's not like news now, because it's been a good few weeks since the league's been out, but a lot of people are using the tech rod sort of tech, and for newer players that might not be aware of it. So basically, if you get the Undying Hate Jewel, you put it into this specific slot. You can also put it in other slots as well. You can get this node full sacrifice of blood. So the reason why we regenerate so much life is the more skills we do, it costs us more life, but then we also regenerate so much life, and that's over the 8 seconds. So the more casting we do, we end up regenerating so much life back. We're constantly topped up, we're constantly unkillable, and this is the reason why we use that. And then what I've also gone for is this specific node. So on my roll, I got Conquered Attributes grants 6 strength. 6 strength. Strength converts to more life. So what I've got for up here is extra strength to more life to cap that. So we hit the next bracket of 100. So every 100 we get, where I showed you the Wrathpith, it goes up. And then also we've got the extra points in here as well. So that's why that is so relevant. So you do want to get the Tech Rod gem and put that in there for the extra regen to cover all this other stuff included. And then the build works wonders. So that's what you want to aim for. Over here we got more triggered spells, spell damage, increase energy. Don't think I've skipped anything. Just want to make sure I cover everything so you know exactly what you're looking at. And then triggered spells damage. Now this is very important in fishing inscriptions. If you take this off, you won't get the reservation for your spirit to do other stuff and add stuff in there. So you would have to have this in there to cover the spirit, especially if you didn't get that much off the amulet or the other items as well. So definitely keep that in there. And this is for like crit damage, crit chance. I've taken out some of these because I'm already hitting 100% crit, so I don't need to waste any nodes, hence why I can do more with the build. But if you need more crit, just go with the other nodes. Crit damage here, another gem. Overall, if you can get 20% increased maximum energy shield, that'd be great. And anything that recovers life on kill would be great as well. And then we've got some extra bonuses in there, which is pretty dope. So aim for some of those if you can also. Whereas I mentioned the blind from earlier, Distracted target, 50% increased critical hit chance against blinding enemies. Once you blind them with the procs I mentioned, you get more crit on top of that. So it will definitely help you cap your crits every time as well. And then over here, Kite Runner, increased movement speed for us. So if you're not using Blink, beneficial. Also projectiles move faster, which is beneficial, and you do more damage with this. However, if you want to move them slower, you can. But like I said, I've tried and tested it. I didn't find it beneficial. I just found it too slow, and it just wasn't. It didn't look good. You're losing time in your mapping. It's just not good overall. But that is everything covered for you guys. So we've gone over the inventory, we've gone over the skills, we've gone over the passives. If you do want a PoE ninja or anything done like that, or mobilytics, I've seen a lot of different comments asking for different ones. So I'm not sure what you might want in there for now. But if I do get so many comments or mentions of either one, I can just do a majority vote. And if people want more, one or the other, I can add that in there if you need it. I just wanted to release this and go over everything, but I've covered everything quite in depth and as slow as I can, so I'm not rushing over anything. So I'm sure you'll fully understand the whole build and how it all works. But finally, I'll go over the rotation and just make it as quick as simple for you. So in regards to mapping, as you saw, it's just as simple as just shooting your lightning ball and then lightning warp. However, when you're first loading into a mission, keep an eye on my HP for the tech rod to kick in for the life regeneration. What you can proc is the cast, which I cast for the galvanic shards for the proc. So because I'm using this, which is on here for the galvanic field attack, I'm losing HP. You could also do this with lightning balls as well. And then once you've used so much, you can see the HP go up. So that means our life regen's kicked into the high amount now, after that 8-second section. So now we're pretty much invulnerable. And as long as we keep tacking, we can get our HP back and kill. So don't ever be scared with the build. So even if you're low on life, don't just think I've got to do a potion and wait. You just want to attack and you get your life back. And whereas I mentioned that flask gives you instant recovery as well. So you've got several factors to get your life back. You've also got the get off me skill if you want to add that, and lightning storm as well. There's just so many different things you could add on for the build. But rotation, simple. Mapping, just use your lightning balls. Warp over, lightning warp over, that's it. If you're fighting an elite, you'll already insta-kill them if you're at this level or copy this to a T. However, if you're learning and leveling up, proc your sigil of power, change back to your regular weapon. It is very important because you can make a mistake where once you change to sigil of power, you've got the other staff, so you won't be doing the same damage. So make sure you are getting your other attack. So what I've done is I'm using a 2-set style. So I've added some of my galvanic. I just press RB on the controller or switch and it switches back for me. So simple, sigil of power, change back to your regular weapon. Elemental exposure, frost bomb. Once you've done that, shoot, 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 and then you just proc your lightning warp, and that will just literally obliterate any boss, any pinnacle boss. It's that simple. And then if they are in a phase 2, just do the same thing over and over. So sigil of power, galvanic shard, elemental exposure, frost bomb, and then get your procs in. What's up, Atagiv? And then that's it. That's all the rotation is for you. It's pretty much that simple. Now, I did remove the camera so you could see all the stats. However, I could pretty much show you again, but I can just read them out. And if you do want to join the stream, I can show you live on the stream. But overall stats with this, we got 3,631 life off base, which does go up once you use a life remnant. So that can go up to 4. With the board charm, go up to 5k. And you can scale that. Energy shield is 4.8k, 4,833. We have 147 spirit. Armor is 21%. Resistances, fire is at 76%. Cold is at 76%. Lightning is at 73%. However, I've got another belt and I can change some gear, so I can make this 76% also. But I wanted to keep it real to the footage I showed you, is what the same gear I've got on now. And then 27% on the chaos resistance, 78 dex, 164 intelligence, and 115 strength. So that is everything for you folks. So that is my Bloodmage Living Lightning build. Absolutely insane, absolutely godly. Blast map super quick, gets you super good loot. Kills or bosses or uber bosses. Can help you carry. I've carried 4 to 5 people in Zest. Tier 3 max settings as well. So any pinnacle boss, you can hard carry with the build and help your friends, teammates and guild members. But as far as builds go, it's one of the most godliest builds. I think it's just so much fun, so strong. And I still can add more to it. So if you haven't already built it, definitely build it. Have some fun with it. And if you have any questions, I'm live on Twitch every day. But apart from that, enjoy the build. Enjoy the Bloodmage Living Lightning build. It is godly. And wherever you are, have a good morning, have a good night, have a good evening. I will catch you on the next one. Take it easy. And peace out.